What if the institutions we trust to ensure justice are quietly being weaponized for partisan gain? This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's a pattern, with roots stretching back more than a decade. From the targeting of Tea Party groups during the Obama administration to the lawfare currently aimed at Donald Trump and his associates, the misuse of governmental power has become a defining characteristic of modern American politics. From city halls to the White House, the government targets groups and individuals based on their political or ideological views. This is weaponized government for political gain, and it's a very real, very dangerous threat to democracy. Our video examines key examples of this weaponization and the chilling implications for democracy. So, stick around to the end to see if there is a solution to the weaponization of the U.S. government. The first major modern instance of government weaponization came to light in 2013 when the IRS was exposed for targeting conservative Tea Party groups. These groups' applications for tax-exempt status were delayed or denied, and their members were subject to excessive scrutiny and audits. The justification? Ostensibly to prevent political activity from influencing charitable organizations. Yet, the targeting was anything but neutral. Conservative groups were singled out based on keywords like Tea Party or Patriot. Liberal organizations engaging in similar activities faced no comparable scrutiny. Lois Lerner, the IRS official at the center of the scandal, claimed these actions were nonpartisan. Yet, subsequent investigations revealed a clear ideological bias. The scandal resulted in apologies and resignations, but no significant consequences. This set a dangerous precedent. Political weaponization could occur with limited accountability. Could this permissive culture have emboldened future abuses? Before Edward Snowden's bombshell revelations, the IRS scandal of 2013 had already set the stage for a new era of government overreach. This was not an isolated incident. It was a warning sign that went largely ignored. The targeting of conservative Tea Party groups by the IRS was a clear misuse of governmental power, aimed at stifling political opposition. The ideological bias was evident, and despite public outcry, the consequences were minimal. Lois Lerner, the official at the heart of the scandal, faced no criminal charges, and the systemic issues within the IRS were never fully addressed. This lack of accountability sent a dangerous message. Government agencies could act with impunity, using their power to target specific groups without fear of significant repercussions. The IRS scandal was a microcosm of a larger problem, a prelude to the more extensive abuses of power that would come to light in the following years. It highlighted the vulnerabilities in our system and the ease with which governmental power could be weaponized for political ends. As we delve deeper into this narrative, it becomes clear that the IRS scandal was not just an isolated event, but a symptom of a much larger issue. The groundwork was being laid for more significant abuses of power, setting the stage for the revelations that would follow. This brings us to the next chapter in our story, the Snowden effect, where the scale of government overreach reached unprecedented levels. In the wake of the IRS scandal, another seismic event further exposed the lengths to which government agencies could go to wield their power. The revelations brought forth by Edward Snowden. In 2013, the former NSA contractor leaked a trove of classified documents revealing the extent of global surveillance programs operated by the United States. These programs, which included the bulk collection of phone metadata and internet communications of millions of Americans, were justified under the guise of national security. However, the sheer scope and lack of transparency surrounding these operations raised significant concerns about privacy and civil liberties. Snowden's disclosures sparked a global debate about the balance between security and individual freedoms. They also highlighted how easily government power could be weaponized against its own citizens. The surveillance programs were not just focused on foreign threats. They had the potential to monitor political activists, journalists, and ordinary citizens without their knowledge or consent. This level of intrusion was unprecedented and revealed a darker side of government oversight. Despite the controversy, the response from the government was to vilify Snowden, labeling him a traitor and charging him under the Espionage Act. This reaction further illustrated the lengths to which the government would go to protect its secrets, even at the expense of transparency and accountability. The Snowden effect, as it came to be known, was a stark reminder of the delicate balance between state power and individual rights. It also served as a cautionary tale about the potential for government overreach and the weaponization of surveillance capabilities. As public awareness of these issues grew, so did the realization that the deep state wasn't just an abstract concept, but a tangible force with far-reaching implications. The narrative was no longer confined to shadowy, backroom dealings. It was playing out in real time, affecting the lives of millions. This brings us to another pivotal moment in the saga of government weaponization, the case of Donald Trump. As the IRS scandal faded from headlines, another term began to gain traction: the deep state. Initially dismissed as a conspiracy theory, the concept of a shadow government working behind the scenes became increasingly difficult to ignore. Whistleblowers and insiders started to come forward, revealing disturbing patterns of behavior within federal agencies. These revelations included clandestine operations aimed at undermining elected officials, leaking sensitive information to the media, and using bureaucratic red tape to stall policy implementations. One of the most startling examples came from within the FBI. In 2018, text messages between FBI agents Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were uncovered, revealing their deep animus toward then-President Trump and a desire to stop his presidency. Strzok, who played a key role in the Crossfire Hurricane investigation, was eventually removed from the probe, but the damage was already done. These internal biases raised serious questions about the impartiality of federal investigations. The notion of a deep state isn't confined to one administration or political party. It's a bipartisan issue that threatens the very fabric of democracy. With each new revelation, the public's trust in government continues to erode, and the line between accountability and weaponization becomes increasingly blurred. The deep state is no longer a fringe theory, but a pressing concern that demands attention and action. As we delve deeper into the labyrinth of government weaponization, the case of Donald Trump stands as a glaring example of how these hidden forces can shape the political landscape. Donald Trump's rise to political prominence in 2016 marked a new chapter in the weaponization of government. From his early campaign days, Trump was mired in controversies that critics allege were exacerbated by weaponized institutions. The FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation into alleged Russian collusion during the 2016 election consumed much of his presidency. Despite years of media attention, the Mueller report ultimately found no conclusive evidence of collusion. Fast forward to 2024, and Trump faces multiple legal challenges, including cases involving hush money payments, classified documents, and his role in the January 6th Capitol riots. While critics argue these cases represent accountability, others, including surprising voices like Democratic Senator John Fetterman, have called them out as bullshit. On Truth Social, Fetterman declared, "Weaponizing the judiciary for blatant partisan gain diminishes the collective faith in our institutions." His words echoed a growing concern that legal systems are being manipulated to sideline political opponents rather than serve justice. The weaponization of government isn't limited to high-profile figures like Trump. Increasingly, ordinary Americans are caught in the crossfire. Consider parents protesting at school board meetings who have been labeled as potential domestic terrorists by the Department of Justice. These actions, ostensibly to protect school officials, have led to surveillance and intimidation of citizens exercising their First Amendment rights. How can democracy thrive when dissent is treated as a threat? The ripple effects extend further. Whistleblowers within federal agencies who expose corruption or misconduct often face retaliation. Take the case of IRS whistleblowers exposing the Hunter Biden tax investigation. Rather than being celebrated for their integrity, they faced professional and personal repercussions. This culture of suppression stifles transparency and accountability, eroding public trust in government institutions. What's striking is that criticism of government weaponization is no longer confined to conservative circles. Figures like John Fetterman have crossed ideological lines to decry lawfare's corrosive effects. Fetterman's call for pardons in the Trump hush money case highlights the growing recognition that these tactics damage institutions more than their intended targets. Other liberal commentators, such as journalist Matt Taibbi, have also raised alarms about governmental overreach. Taibbi's reporting on the Twitter files revealed collusion between social media companies and federal agencies to suppress certain narratives under the guise of combating misinformation. This blending of corporate and government power raises a troubling question. When does public-private partnership become outright censorship? If the weaponization of government continues unchecked, what are the implications for democracy? Already, public trust in institutions is at an all-time low. According to recent polls, confidence in the judiciary, Congress, and federal agencies has plummeted across the political spectrum. When faith in these pillars erodes, the very fabric of democracy begins to fray. But it doesn't have to be this way. Transparency and accountability are essential first steps. Whistleblower protections must be strengthened to ensure that those exposing corruption are shielded from retaliation. Moreover, bipartisan oversight of government agencies is crucial to prevent ideological capture. The America First Policy Institute, AFPI, proposes a concise 10-point plan to ensure government accountability, impartiality, and integrity. It focuses on curbing weaponization by exposing abuses, promoting ethical leadership, and strengthening oversight. Key strategies include forming a presidential commission to investigate government misuse, revitalizing accountability offices like the DOJ's OPR, and decentralizing federal agencies. AFPI emphasizes state-based solutions, fostering collaboration to combat overreach, and advancing legislative measures to end political lawfare. This vision aims to restore trust and uphold fairness across all levels of governance. The weaponization of government is not a partisan issue. It's an existential threat to the principles of justice and equality. From the Tea Party scandal to Trump's legal battles, from silenced parents to punished whistleblowers, the pattern is clear. As Fetterman aptly put it, when institutions are used for partisan gain, we all lose faith. The question is, will we demand better before it's too late? What do you think? Is there a way to reverse this dangerous trend? Or are we witnessing the new normal in American governance?